The year was 1986. For millions of kids, life was simple. You had your breakfast cereal, your Saturday morning cartoons, and your favorite semi truck hero who stood for truth, justice, and the Autobot way. But then Hollywood decided that simple wasn't enough. They decided to take our childhood heroes, throw them into a feature length heavy metal space opera, and within the first 20 minutes, break every kid's heart in the theater. It was the movie meant to sell toys, but it ended up becoming a Shakespearean tragedy wrapped in chrome and neon. So check your energon levels, get ready to roll out, and whatever you do, don't let go of the Matrix. As Nicholas Pepin and I discuss Transformers the movie from 1986 on this episode of the 80s Flick Flashback Podcast. Welcome in, everybody. So glad to have you on the show. I am your host, Tim Williams. To tackle a movie this massive, I needed a co-host who knows his Cybertronian lore and isn't afraid to face the wrath of Unicron. Returning to the show is a man who always brings the touch and the power to our discussions. He's the host of Pop Culture Roulette and a true titan of 80s nostalgia. Please welcome back to the pod, Nicholas Pepin. How you doing, Nicholas?
Well, I have watched the wrong movie. I was prepared to talk about Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox, so
Wrong decade. Wrong, very wrong decade.
No, I'm ready to talk about the traumatizing film that was the 1986 Transformers.
Yeah. Ready to jump into this one. So let's just go. All right, you know how we start the show. When did you see Transformers, the movie from 1986 for the very first time?
I'm struggling. I knew this was the question you were going to ask. I've done enough of these episodes that I genuinely don't remember. I was such a big Transformers fan. I know in boxes in the basement down here, I've got Transformers from the 80s.
Right.
I don't remember going to see this one in the theaters though, which is hard because I was such a big fan. There's no way I wouldn't have made my parents take me.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember them taking me to see it. Maybe they knew or saw something in the review of like, hey, this is going to traumatize you. This could be like, but I mean, I know I watched it. I know, it was one of those that I definitely saw like as soon as it was available to rent.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time believing I didn't go see it in the theaters. I just don't remember.
Yeah.
I would have been 8. So.
Yeah. See, I'm kind of like you because I don't think that I knew this movie was in the theater at all. Like I found out about this movie like years later. So like I don't remember. And I think maybe even if I saw the VHS, I just thought it was like a collection of like the TV episodes because I watched the cartoon, I had a few of the toys. We weren't quite, Transformers rich, as we said as a kid. I was more GoBots. I could afford more we could afford more GoBots than Transformers. But I had friends that had a few of the toys, and so. But I was a huge fan of the cartoon. So, I'll be honest. I think this was my first time watching it for the podcast. I don't think I'd ever seen it before. It was just never on my radar. And so when I started the podcast and I kept seeing like Transformers the movie, I'm like, I thought this was just like, I didn't know this existed. It for some reason just wasn't on my radar.
Well, on my list of future topics I have is 80s movies that traumatized children. This one and A Never-Ending Story are top 2 of that list. There are other ones, but the 80s specialized in like not just making great movies, but like traumatizing children at a young age.
Yeah. I think 80s movies told us as kids like life is not fun, it's gonna suck. So here you go.
Yeah.
Get ready for
So,
Heartbreak Kid because it's coming. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I would say in my list, it was like, we've talked about how Poltergeist traumatized me in other ways, but E.T., man, E.T. like
oh
broke
yeah,
me as a kid.
ET would be on that list as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why I haven't covered that one yet. I'm not sure if I'm ready to watch it again. Now I've seen it a couple of times. It's not quite as traumatizing now, but yeah, we'll get to it. So, well, how long has it been since you rewatched it for the podcast?
I mean, it's probably been, 88, 89. I don't know, whenever they would have aired it on TV. And
Yeah, yeah.
I was still watching the Transformers cartoon. Yeah, I mean, it's been a while. This is not one that I've revisited in a long time.
Yeah, like I said, first time watch for me, so I don't have any rewatching. Uh, this was, a first time watch, which I have a few of those on the podcast, so it fits. But I knew that going in. I was like, I think this might be my first time seeing it. So, all right, well, let's jump into our newest uh, side venture, our newest category on the podcast, Risky Quizness, which is my title that I've given for our little trivia game about the pre-production of casting and pre-production of Transformers the movie, which being an animated movie is a little bit more interesting to follow. But I got 5 true or false questions. Nicholas, you're on your own. You have no team to pull from, but I think you can do it.
All right, let's find out.
All right, here we go. We're going to start at the top. True or false? Number 1, Leonard Nimoy was cast as Galvatron because the producers wanted a Spock-like performance. True or false?
False.
You are correct. That is false. While he was cast for his gravitas, he actually took the role because he was a friend of the director, Nelson Shin, and actually wanted to play a villain, which I could see that. All right, number 2, the script originally called for the death of every single character from the first 2 seasons of the TV show. True or false?
True.
Yep. The directive from Hasbro was to clear the shelves to make room for the 1986 toy line. The writers had to keep a few survivors. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy,
Yeah, and
crazy.
we'll get there. We'll get there, but
Yeah,
that was yeah, that was a
yeah.
choice.
All right, he's doing good. Number 3, Scatman Crothers, who voiced Jazz, recorded his lines while he was filming Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
False.
You are correct. This is a common timeline mix-up. The Shining was actually in 1980. By the time Transformers was in production, Crothers was sadly in the final year of his life. I think he passed away either right before it came out or right after. So, all right, he's got over the halfway point. See if he can bring it all the way home. Number 4, Judd Nelson, who voiced Hot Rod, was cast immediately after his success in The Breakfast Club.
Oh, now I have to remember when. True.
That is true. The producers wanted Brat Pack star power to appeal to the older kids and teens who were actually aging out of the toy line. All right, here we go. See if we can get a clean sweep. Number 5, the character RC was almost cut because producers feared a female Transformer wouldn't sell any toys. True or false?
That would be true.
Yeah. Despite her prominent role in the film, an RC toy didn't actually hit shelves until decades later because of this initial executive pushback, which I think is completely crazy.
Yeah, it's so ridiculously stupid to think that's how people thought back in the day, but
Mhm.
whatever. It is what it is.
Yep. All right, Nicholas, you are cleared the board 100%. Got it right. So good job. Let us know how you did if you played along with us and leave us a comment or send us a message on social media. So cool. That was a good one. So yeah, the pre-production is pretty much what we kind of covered. Um, it basically came, they wanted to sell toys. They knew that there was a popular, the cartoon was popular, but they really wanted to like create all new characters. They wanted the movie to be all new Transformers and they wanted to kill off everybody from before that. Like, who thinks making a cartoon where you kill off all all of the characters is a good idea? And actually they realized what a mistake it was to, spoiler alert, kill off Optimus Prime early in the movie because they just thought of him as a toy and didn't realize that kids looked up to him as like an authority figure. And like they got reports of like parents having to carry their crying kids out of the theater during screenings. And they were like, oh my God, what have we done?
Yeah, and see, that's where I'm thinking that maybe those reports must have made the news or made the newspaper, and my parents
Mhm.
were like, "Yeah, we're not going to take him to see this one in the theater. We're going to
Yeah.
wait."
Yeah, it
So,
could be.
and I don't know if you have in your notes or not, but it affected them so much that when they did the G.I. Joe movie a little bit later, they actually re-scripted part of it so that they didn't kill a bunch of G.I. Joe characters as well.
Yeah. I didn't have that on my notes, so I'm glad you brought that up, but yeah. But yeah. But, we'll get into box office a little later, but it didn't do well in the theaters, which is probably why I don't really remember it that much. It kind of got swallowed up by too many other, like, family-friendly movies at the time, and it just I think I wanna say at that point, they were starting to lose some of the, you know, a lot of their number 1 fans were kind of aging out, becoming teenagers, and they may not have wanted to go see the movie, but looking back, like, watching it, I was like, "Man, this would have been so cool to see in the theater." Like, it's a fun movie to watch. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like the cartoon, but on steroids. Like, it's like I was expecting a little bit more, like, even keel and a few action sections, but it's, like, nonstop from top to bottom. Like, there's very little, like, pause in the action, and even the soundtrack, like, keeps it moving pretty well.
Yeah. I know I've told this story before. I don't think it was on your podcast, but
Okay.
I was a huge fan of Voltron as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
And when Cartoon Network was like, we got the rights to Voltron, we're gonna re-air it. Like, I like went out of my way to like either set my DVR or like set my VCR. I don't remember the time frame. And I
Mhm.
watched the first episode and I was like, I can't. I can't. I have to leave the memory of Voltron where it was because this cartoon is so bad. When rewatching this movie, I'm like, I actually want to go back and watch the cartoon. Like the
Yeah.
animation and the
Yeah.
style was not like it's not so like heavily 80s that you're like, oh, I'm just gonna leave my
Mhm.
memory where it is so that
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
have the good memory. But yeah, it was like, wow, like yeah, it brought back the warm and fuzzies.
Mhm. And I think another thing that hurt it is I wanna say it took, like, almost 2 years for the animation. They were saying, like, it would take I should have wrote it down, like, they had to, like, double the amount of animators from the TV show for the movie, and I wanna say, like, it would take them up to 9 weeks to do one, like, 20-minute episode, so to have to thinking about how much time it would take to do the movie while they were still making the show at the same time was like, it was a huge undertaking, which
Yeah, because that was back in the day before computers were really
yeah,
advanced enough to do a lot of the like the background stuff or
mhm, yeah. It's
everything was
not
still
quite
pretty
as
much
clean
hand
it
drawn, but
yeah, yeah. It's not quite as clean as I thought it was gonna look, like, and maybe it was just the version that I watched, even though I think I think I watched the 4K or the HD. It wasn't terrible, but there were a few parts where it was like, it wasn't quite as clean as I thought it was gonna be.
I watched the version that was uploaded to YouTube.
Hey, I probably should have I ended up paying for mine, but it was a pretty cheap rental, so. Alright, well, let's jump into the cast, and this is I wanted to keep it short, but this cast is, like, super stacked with
Ridiculous.
people yeah, yeah, which is another reason why I'm like, "How did I not know this movie existed?" So, alright, well, let's start at the top with Judd Nelson as Hot Rod and Rodimus Prime. Of course, he talked about after he was in The Breakfast Club, which caused him to be associated with a group of actors known as the Brat Pack. In the late 80s, he starred in other Brat Pack films, including St. Elmo's Fire in 85, which we covered, Blue City in 86, and had lead roles in From the Hip in 87 and Relentless in 89. So, yeah, we've talked about him on The Breakfast Club and on St. Elmo's Fire, so I'm not going too deep into his filmography. But yeah, I mean, for the character he played, he was fine. I mean, he doesn't have that distinctive voice. Was like, oh, that's Judd Nelson. Like, I really couldn't pick him out too quickly when I was watching it.
If I hadn't have seen his name in the credits at the beginning, I'm not sure. Like as soon as I heard it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's Judd Nelson. But like
Yeah,
I saw the name in the credits, so I knew he was coming.
right, right, yeah. Yeah, there were a few names that popped up. I'm like, oh, I have to listen for that. Like Leonard Nimoy. Like, I didn't think of him being one of the voice actors, like, but his voice is definitely distinguished. Talking about distinguished voices, there's a guy talking about Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime. Of course, he voiced Optimus Prime in the original animated series, later returning to the role in the 2007 Transformers live action movie. He has also voiced many other characters across a wide variety of popular media, including Eeyore in the Winnie the Pooh franchise, Monterey Jack and Chippendale Rescue Rangers, and the voice of Carr in Knight Rider and the vocalizations of the title character in Predator. So, yeah, first voice of Carr, which I'm assuming was like Kit from Knight Rider.
Oh,
But
I think Carr was the bad one.
was that what it was? Okay.
Yeah,
That could be right.
yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I think Kit was the one that run around with Michael Knight, and then Carr was the evil one that was like, I can't remember all
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
I
there was
vaguely
just
remember that now.
he
Yeah.
was like the
Yeah.
first version, and he got shelved, and I
Mhm.
don't. It's been a long time since I watched
Yeah.
Knight
Yeah.
Rider.
And that's one of those, like, too, like, I remember when what was it like? Ooh, that was probably like 20 years ago. They were doing like they tried to reboot Knight Rider for
Oh
TV.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I was like, oh, I want to go back and watch the old episodes. And I watched like a couple. I was like, I just can't. Once again, the memory is better. Like, it's so
yeah,
cheesy.
yeah.
So, but yeah, but I mean, Peter Cullen is awesome, you know, so just want to say his name again. All right. And then we got Lion. You got anything else to add about Peter
No, I
Cullen?
don't. I was
Okay.
like, let's say Peter Cullen a couple more times just to say it.
Yeah. It's Peter Cullen, man. All right. And then we got Lionel Stander as Cup. I only mention him because he had an extensive career in theater, film, radio, and television that spanned nearly 70 years. He was known for his distinctive raspy voice and tough guy demeanor. Moving right along, Bert Stack as Ultra Magnus. I definitely are Ultra Magnus. There you go, Ultra
Oh yeah,
Magnus.
Ultra Magnus.
Yeah, his is a voice that I definitely know. I mean, of course, Unsolved Mysteries is what traumatizing thing of us for us as kids. I seen him come out of the smoke in his trench coat and tell you about, who got murdered, and we don't know how it happened or who did it. So we just covered him, of course, in our airplane episode earlier this year. So, but great. And it was funny to hear him like in this character, like saying some of the lines he said in this movie. I'm like, had to be fun for like this, serious actor. Of course, he'd done like the airplane, but kind of like playing a comedic version of himself. But here he's really getting to like chew up the scenery with the Ultra Magnus character.
Yeah, I mean, it just I have this vision of him sitting in the studio going, "What do you want me to say? Just say the line as it's written." What? What is this?
Yeah.
We paid you already. Just say it.
Right. Yeah. I think that was probably a few of them were like that. Like, what did I sign up for again? Oh
I
yeah.
mean, let me
Okay.
just look at that check. How many zeros does it have in it? Yeah, okay.
Right. Yeah. Give me the line again. Speaking of people that came on for a paycheck and didn't know what they were talking about, Orson Welles as Unicron. His first film was Citizen Kane, 1941, which he co-wrote, produced, directed, and starred in as the title character. It has also been consistently ranked as one of the greatest films ever made. He directed 12 other features. The most acclaimed include The Magnificent Ambersons in 42, Othello in 1951, Touch of Evil in 58, The Trial in 62, and Crimes at Midnight in 1966. Of course, he's most known for the War of the Worlds radio adaptation in 1938. If you don't know about that, you can Google it. We had to study it in elementary school, I think. But yeah, but a little fun fact here, director Nelson Shin and the story consultant Flint Dill have confirmed that Orson Welles had a very hard time recording his lines due to his failing health. Most of his lines included labored breathing and heavy wheezing. Shin considered most of Welles's dialogue unusable, but put the recordings through a voice synthesizer to give Welles's voice a clearer, more ominous, there it is, a more ominous tone. According to Shin, Unicron's on-screen voice is an enhanced, synthesized version of Welles's voice. So,
it was
which is
still
probably
pretty
one.
recognizable as Orson
Yeah.
Welles, though.
Yep. Once again, I think, and there's a quote where like he said he would come home and his family would ask him like, "So how's the movie you're filming?" He was like, "Yeah, today I blew up something." And yeah, he's like he had no clue what he was talking about. It's like, "Yeah, I'm I'm a big planet that eats another planet or something like that." Like he didn't really understand his his character. He just was reading the lines. So
Yeah, I feel like it was very much like Marlon Brando and Superman.
yeah,
Just say it. No, I'm gonna do this other thing instead.
right. Oh boy, yeah. Just thinking about the Marlon Brando stories from Superman. What do you say? He wanted to portray it like an avocado or something crazy like that.
Bagel, I can't.
A bagel, yeah, yeah. I can't remember. So outrageous. All right. Here's a name I did recognize: Frank Welker as Megatron, the merciless Decepticon leader. He also voiced Soundwave, Frenzy, Scrap Heap, and a youthful rebellious Junkian. Welker is best known for voicing Fred Jones from the Scooby-Doo franchise since its inception in 1969, and later the character himself since 2002. In 2020, he reprised the role in the animated film Scoob, the only original voice actor from the series in the film's cast. He's also known for voicing Garfield from the Garfield franchise from 2007. But yeah.
And pretty much every cartoon ever he has had a role
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen his name in probably so many cartoon credits. I can't even keep track. But yeah. And of course, you talked about Leonard Nimoy. Leonard Nimoy as Galvatron. Of course, he's most known for playing Spock in the Star Trek franchise. He also directed a few movies like Three Men and a Baby in 1987. It's Leonard Nimoy, man. It's Spock. I mean, what else are you going to say? It's who it is. All right, moving right along. Susan Blue voiced RC. She's also known for playing the roles of Stormer, Mary Phillips, and Lindsay Pierce in the 1980s animated series Jim. She also served as a casting and voice director for Handy Manny, for which she also guest starred as Marion. There you go. For your next trivia night. Who voiced Marion on Handy Manny? Susan Blue. There you go. And then we've got Neil Ross as Springer. He also voiced Bone Crusher, Bulldozer. Bone Crusher was the Bulldozer, Hook, Slag, and the Dinobot Triceratops. He's noted for his transatlantic accent. He also provided voices in many American cartoons, most notably G.I. Joe, Spider-Man the Animated Series, My Life as a Teenage Robot, Voltron, and Transformers. He's also been a radio announcer or voice roles for many movies, including Back to the Future Part 2, Babe, and Quiz Show. And my favorite reason and why I put him on here, he is the voice of the Whammy in the classic game show Press Your Luck.
I've never thought about who the voice of the Whammy was, but now I know.
Yep. So, and congratulations, you're on both episodes that we've talked about the Whammy from Press Your Luck, because going all the way back to Better Off Dead, Savage Steve Holland was one of the animators of the original Whammy. So
that man, it's just we can't get away. Maybe we should just
go
on Press. Maybe we should just go on Press Your Luck.
I really want to. I want to go on Press Your Luck. I keep saying I'm going to audition, and I keep chickening out. I'm going to have to do it. So, but yeah, I love Press Your Luck as a kid, and like I have to watch it when it's on now. So, all right, I'm going to skip a few of these that are just. There's so many people that were like standard animated voice actors. I'm going to kind of skip over those and go for ones that we knew from other things. The one that I've definitely picked up on absolutely out of the gate, I did not know his name, but it's John Moshida Jr. as Blur, the fast-talking, high-strung Autobot soldier, but he's also known as Motormouth, or the fast-talking guy. He was an actor, singer, and spokesman. He's best known for his rapid speech delivery. He appeared in over 100 commercials as the Micro Machines guy and in a 1981 ad for FedEx. So that's what I knew him from the Micro Machines commercials.
Yep,
absolutely. Sure. And then somebody else I knew, Eric Idle as Wreck-Gar. Of course, he's known for the Monty Python sketch series Flying Circus, the films Holy Grail, Life of Brian, The Meaning of Life. Yeah, he's been in other movies, including National Lampoon's European Vacation we've covered, Adventures of Baron Munchausen, Nuns on the Run, Splitting Heirs, Casper, Ella Enchanted, and Shrek the Third. But yeah, Eric Idle, I knew his voice. Another one I knew right off the bat.
Immediately.
Yeah. And then I think the last one I'm going to mention. Oh, no, I got one more after this one. But the late, great Casey Kasem was the voice of Cliff Jumper. Of course, we know him as American disc jockey and radio presenter who created and hosted several radio countdown programs, most notably American Top 40, as well as the weekly syndicated TV series. He also voiced Shaggy in Scooby-Doo, which of course I knew, and he also voiced Dick Grayson and Robin in Super Friends from 1973 to 1985. Yep. He'll always be the voice of Shaggy to me. Like that when I found out that he was the voice of Shaggy on Scooby-Doo, like I couldn't listen to his radio show the same way after that anymore. So, and then the last one we mentioned already, Scatman Crothers as Jazz. He was known for playing Louis the Garbage Man on the TV show Chico and the Man. He was also in The Shining in 1980. He was a title character in Hong Kong Phooey and Scat Cat in the Disney animated film The Aristocats, sorry. So yeah, but yeah, I recognized his voice. He's another one with a very recognizable voice for sure. So anybody that I missed or skipped over that you had in your notes?
No. I mean, other than Orson Welles and Eric Idle, there was not really just. I mean, there's just so many names that you've already mentioned that you're just like, in 1986, they weren't really like, other than maybe Disney. And Disney wasn't even doing the big, big name stars then. That was, because I remember it was just a conversation that I was having recently where like people complain about like, oh, all these animation things, they only hire big name actors anymore. Voice actors don't get the work anymore. And I was like, yeah, well, let's go back to 1986 and say it started at least then, if not before. Because like none, like other than Peter Cullen and a couple of the other people, like none of the people from the cartoon were doing the voices of the characters that were in this movie. Like, and then when they went back to the cartoon, they went right back to the voice people who were.
Yeah. And I think there was even some trivia. I may have it in my notes later on, but like there's some characters that you see, but their lines got cut. So they still had their names in the credits, but they cut their lines. But there's so many characters in this movie, and it's moving in so many different, places. Like it was kind of tough to keep up with at some points. So, yeah, I could see how it being tough to kind of keep everybody together for that. So, what about favorite character? I mean, of course, Optimus Prime is going to be everybody's favorite from like Transformers altogether. But from the movie specifically, was there a character that stood out to you as your favorite or most interesting?
I mean, this time it struck me the T-Rex, whose name is escaping me, but like the Dinobots, I've always liked them anyway. But like, I mean, I remember the series of episodes that created the Dinobots, so like having them included in this one. But like I found them to be humorous and amusing to me this time around.
Yeah.
So like like when they were trying to they're like, get on the plane, and they're like, no, like get on the ship, like come on.
Yeah.
Like just that scene was really funny to me. Obviously the Weird Al song.
Yes. And it was crazy because I was like, are they for real playing Weird Al in this movie? Like I had no idea. And then when I got to the chorus, I was like, that is Weird Al. Wait a minute. Like that was not expecting that at all.
There is a small part of me when I was watching this movie that was like, wait a minute. My obsession with Weird Al, I think, started around the same time this movie came out. So there might be a small link between Transformers the movie and Weird Al in general, because I mean, I definitely had the Dare to Be Stupid album so I don't know if he did the song for the movie and then he just threw it on that album, or if they were like, we really like Weird Al, let's just figure out how to put this song in a movie, because it made no sense for the scene.
No, it didn't at all.
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was fun, and I mean that whole the whole Wreck-Gar motorcycle people were weird, so it just. But yeah, but there's definitely a small chance that these two things were related to each other.
Yeah.
Either Weird Al was introduced to me from Transformers, or Transformers and I were like, yes, we got Weird Al.
Yeah. So yeah. so for me, like my favorite character was actually Eric Idle's character. I just love that he was like, he learned English from like TV, so all of his dialogue was like mixed with like commercials, kind of stuff. So that was funny to me. So I liked his character. I would have liked more of his character in the movie, but yeah. But like I said, it was so many different characters. It was kind of hard to keep up at some points. All right, well, let's talk about iconic scenes, favorite scenes. So if somebody said to you, I think we're gonna say the same thing. Uh Transformers the movie, what's the first scene that you think of?
I mean, come on. It's
The
it's the
death of
thing that
Optimus Prime.
it's the thing that has become the meme. It is the death
Yeah.
of Optimus Prime. It's
Yes.
the thing that anybody wants to talk about when it comes to this movie of like,
Mhm.
why did you think in your wisdom
Mhm.
killing the main character of the show, the center of your show, was a smart idea? I know that they're like, we got to sell more toys, but like, just introduce more toys.
Right. And he
You
had to have
know,
been like the top selling toy they had at that time, or at least
I
in the top 5.
Yeah. Now, see, I had a lot of Transformers, but there were tiers of Transformers.
There were.
There were the
Yeah.
little ones. I
Mhm.
had a lot of them. I
Exactly.
didn't
Exactly.
have the top tier ones
Nope.
like Optimus,
Mhm.
any of the big ones, like the
Yeah.
bigger ones are like the train, like the Astro Train set.
Oh, yeah.
My
Yeah.
friend had that stuff.
Mhm.
Omicron, like the big, like the play sets that the other Transformers could like interact with.
Right.
I had the little ones that came in the blister packs.
Right.
Like I
Right.
had a couple of the mid-level ones, but
Mhm.
mainly I just had the small ones
Yeah. Yeah. I
and a
had
lot
a
of
friend.
GoBots. But
Yeah, yeah, I had a lot of GoBots. I had a friend that had Optimus Prime, and that was the one that everybody wanted to play with. Like everybody wanted to go to his house and play with Optimus Prime. And he got played with so much he was like really loose, like you'd pick him up and like his legs would like dangle, like it wasn't like stiff anymore. Um, and the other one was I can't remember the name of the character, but it turned into like the Walkman, like the cassette player,
Soundwave.
Soundwave. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I remember one of my friends got that, and like he wouldn't let anybody touch it. It was like you could look at it, but you couldn't touch it.
If
Um,
memory serves, didn't he actually work as a
yeah,
Walkman or
yeah,
okay, yeah.
but it was like the mini tapes. Like it wasn't.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think it was like a full size cassette. It was just like those
Cuz
the mini
you
tapes.
had the tapes that could transform, but then you could also put like real tapes that
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, if that memory serves me correct. But yeah, I think somebody had Starscream. I
I
think
think
I
I had
remember. I vaguely remember playing with Starscream once or twice.
I remember I think I don't know if I had Starscream or the Starscream knockoff that was like the red jet that was basically exactly Starscream but painted different
Painted
color.
different, yeah, and $10 cheaper.
I might have had both actually, but
Yeah. Yeah, so all right, so, yeah, that's the iconic scene. What about favorite scenes? Or any scenes that stood out to you as, like, favorites?
I mean, there were things that stood out to me, but not necessarily because they were favorites. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
there's not having not seen this movie in like 40 years, well, not quite 40 years, but
Right,
pretty close to it.
right.
Like, it just there wasn't anything like, oh, I mean, obviously, Optimus Prime dying, traumatized a kid, and as an adult, you're just like, why would you do this? Um,
Right.
Hot Rod becoming Rodimus Prime, um,
Mhm.
the random like 3 or 4 faced robot that would like throw
Yeah,
people
yeah.
in the robot Shark Tank
Mhm.
where robots would die. I mean, a lot of just nonsense that you're like,
Mhm.
this doesn't make sense to me. How does this work?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if you have it on your notes or where you're gonna go with this stuff, but we need to talk about Unicron in general.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Okay. What do you have in your notes for Unicron? Because there was something that stuck out to me immediately that in
Let me see.
1986 would not have stuck out to me.
I don't have a whole lot of trivia, only because there was so much that I was reading through, and I was just trying to, like, pull out, like, smaller things, I guess, but yeah, well, go with it. Whatever you got,
Okay.
Hit me.
So the first thing that pops into my head is they straight up stole from Galactus. Like this was Unicron was Galactus.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, when did Galactus come out? Maybe it was like, maybe one shit. No, Galactus came out in 1966. Like, there's no way that the makers of that Hasbro and the people who were making this movie did not immediately go and like Marvel had to be like, you did what now?
Yeah. Well, Marvel was part of this too, wasn't it?
Well, Marvel, I don't remember when Marvel started making the Transformers cartoon or comics.
Yeah.
So I don't, because it was one of those that Marvel would have licensed Transformers. It wasn't something that they,
it wasn't they created.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was there's no way around it. The makers of this movie straight up stole the whole concept from the Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't find anything that said directly like one way or the other whether Marvel was like okay with it or they were just like it's not worth it. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't think IP was as big of a thing then as it is now, where they would have been like, "You can't do that. That's our character." They were probably like, "Oh, okay, there's some similarities there. Maybe it'll get people to read our comics," because Marvel
yeah,
wasn't the powerhouse then that it is
yeah,
now, for sure.
no, true, yeah, and it's probably just different enough that Marvel could be like, but you clearly stole it from us, but we can't do anything about
Yeah,
it.
we can't. Yeah.
Because ours is just a big giant guy. Yours is a transforming planet,
Yeah. If you would have called it Galacticon or something like
Yeah,
that.
Galacticon, yeah.
Be like, I think we got a case. So,
Yeah.
uh,
But
all
yeah,
right,
no, it's just the idea of like watching like in the first couple minutes, like a bunch of the characters dying, then
mm-hmm,
Optimus dying, then Starscream dying. And I
mm-hmm,
guess in a sense, Megatron died. They just brought him back immediately as Galvatron.
yeah.
It was such a bizarre set as choice. It's choices that I think even today you'd be like, oh, we want to sell new toys, but
Yeah.
we'll just repackage Optimus Prime with a new coat of paint or a different function and say this is Optimus Prime 2.0 or something, or
Yeah. Or you would send like those characters off like separately, like they're gonna go do something for during this, and we're gonna introduce these like have them kind of set up the new characters, and then just kind of like we've got to go take care of this on this other planet. You guys take care of Earth while we're gone, and kind of give them their story without kind of like killing them off. But then too, nowadays we think about long term, so you're not going to kill off your main characters because you want them to team up, and like how Marvel does it now, like bring them back for other installments. So definitely a different mindset of movie making back then, for sure. But once again, like I said, the whole idea of this movie was not entertainment necessarily. It was just we want to sell more toys, and let's just put it all out in a big movie instead of trying to space it out over a season of the TV show. So
yeah.
that's
Well,
my
and
thought anyway.
then I watched a quick little YouTube clip, like because after I watched it on YouTube, YouTube was like, "You want to watch all this other stuff?" And it was like,
Right.
why did Hot Rod fail, or why did Rodimus Prime fail? And they were like,
Hmm.
not only did people like just not connect to the character, and they immediately changed it, like not immediately, but pretty close to
Yeah.
immediately brought Optimus back in the cartoon.
Hmm.
Um, like they made the Hot Rod toy like 100 times cheaper than the Optimus Prime toy, and it didn't have the function and like
Hmm.
the color, and like people were just like, eh. Like maybe if they had made a better toy, people would have been like, all right, well we can get down with this, but they
Yeah.
made such
Yeah.
a crappy toy that people were just like, eh.
Yeah. I could see that you're making money, so you're going to make them cheaper and sell them more expensive for the name, and make them cheaper so they're not going to last as long. So that's why us Gen Xers don't trust anything. It's like it's not as good as it used to be. All right, well, let's jump into some scenes, some trivia, maybe think about some other scenes. I don't really have a lot of favorite scenes. Like I said, it was fun, but it's almost a blur. Like trying to go back and think, like after I watched it, like if you would have asked me to like explain what happened in the movie when it was over, I probably would have got lost like 3 or 4 times. Like, well, I think, now when did that happen again? Well, these guys were doing this, but I can't remember that guy's name. Like, it was just so much like thrown in there, but it was fun. Like the soundtrack was cool, the music was cool, the action was good, but yeah, I just didn't have a lot to latch onto as like a favorite scene. So I mentioned earlier about many Autobot and Decepticon characters were completely absent from the movie's plot. Sideswipe, Blue Streak, and Inferno are never mentioned or seen in the movie. IDW Publishing published its own adaptation of the film in 2006. This includes extra scenes such as a battle between the missing Combiners and Omega Supreme at the Arc and Shockwave and Reflector being destroyed by Unicron. So I did read there's like a couple of different versions that are out. Like they were able to pull like older different prints and different footage, which I think was another issue with the movie. Like it was kind of put together kind of not very well when they sent it out. So uh the big thing was they actually um I say film, but it's animated. But the original print was TV size, so it was standard size. But the trailers said see the see the Transformers in widescreen. So they initially had to go back and actually just chopped off the top and the bottom of what they had created to make it widescreen. But I think they said now like they've restored it back to the original standard. But I was like, that's crazy. So but yes,
Yeah.
Marvel Comics did publish a 3-issue comic book adaptation written by the Karate Kid himself, Ralph Macchio, and drawn by Don Perlin. In the comic, Autobot City is referred to as Fortress Maximus. The character and toy of Fortress Maximus would not be introduced until nearly a year after the movie's release. Yep, like I said, I don't have much trivia here. It's my last little thing here. We talked about the music on the soundtrack. The band who sings the songs in the soundtrack called Nothing's Gonna Stand in Our Way and Hunger is listed on the soundtrack credits as Spectre General, but the band's actual name is Kickaxe, AXE. When the soundtrack was being assembled, they thought the name Kickaxe sounded too threatening, so they listed him as Spectrum General instead. The band was not notified about the change.
Yeah, again, something you could do in '86 that you could
Right.
never do today.
Right. And then, of course, the greatest song from the movie, "The Touch," performed by Stan Bush, was actually inspired by a line in the movie Iron Eagle, and was originally written for the movie Cobra with Sylvester Stallone, but made it here instead. So, "The Touch." All right. Anything else? Anything you had in your notes you wanted to
I
talk
just
about?
was looking through my notes. There was one thing that stuck out and it could be something that came from the cartoon, but it's been so long since I've watched a full episode of the cartoon that it didn't, I don't remember it, but Megatron, the leader of the Decepticons, is a
Mm-hmm.
gun. When
Yeah.
he transforms, like he's big. He's bigger than most of the Decepticons. When he transforms,
Mm-hmm.
Starscream uses him as a handheld gun.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Which, first off, why is the leader of the Decepticons becoming a handheld weapon for the jerk number 2 guy?
Right. Yeah.
Which that's pretty weird. But like like Optimus is big and he stays as a big truck. Jazz is, big and he stays as a Porsche. Bumblebee, is a Volkswagen Bug. Like the
Mm-hmm.
proportions all tend to stay the same. Megatron, it's just, it was like, what is happening?
Right. Yeah. Depth perception is really bad in this. Yeah. And I had similar thoughts like when it's a scene of them all like they're flying a bigger ship than them. And I'm just like your brain, like as big as Optimus is already, like there's something even bigger that he can like sit down in a pilot seat. And it's not like it's a small cockpit, like there's like 10 feet above him in that,
Yeah.
in that scene. So I was like, and then like they're walking around and like there's no sound of give Michael Bay a little bit of credit for the Transformer. Like when the Transformers walk in the new movies, like it shakes the ground, it leaves imprints. Like in the cartoon, it's like metal hitting metal makes no noise at all. Like you can sneak up on anybody.
It's very, very good rubber shoes.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. And I will say I didn't like how they transformed. Like there's not a lot of, and once again, maybe because I've seen the movies much more, it's more detailed, but it's like it almost like it gets crumbled on the sides and then it just folds into whatever the car they're turning into. Like there's no like real transforming. Like that was a cool thing with the toy was like it was almost like a puzzle, like trying to put the pieces in the
Yes.
right place to fold it down. So
Yeah,
the
because
cartoon didn't really do that very
I
well.
definitely had one or two Transformers that once they transformed, I don't remember them ever going
Going back.
back.
Yeah.
Cause like I don't
Yeah.
remember how
Right.
do I if
Right.
I'm gonna break this thing if I move it back.
Right. Why won't this piece fit? Yeah. I don't think it came with any instructions either. You got it and you figured it out. So,
Yeah, pretty
oh
much.
man,
But yeah, well, I mean, I think again that has to do with animation from the early 80s compared to
for sure.
animation. Because if they were to
Yeah.
make, well, and I haven't watched it yet because I don't know. But that Transformers 1 movie or Transformers Spark, whatever that animated
Haven't watched
movie,
it either.
the animated movie that came out a
Yeah.
couple years ago,
Yeah.
um, I bet you their transforming is way better, but it
Oh,
was,
for sure. Yeah.
not necessarily completely CGI'd, but,
Hmm.
a lot more, computer assistance,
Yeah. That was just, yeah. It's like I wanted to get excited about it, but every time I saw the trailer, they always played it like right after they played the trailer for Mufasa. And I'm like, these are the same movie. The two villains were best friends. This is before they were enemies. I'm like, y'all could have, spaced this out a little bit more than putting them out at the same time. So yeah, uh, I didn't see either one. I haven't seen
Yeah, I haven't
Mufasa
seen
and I
either.
haven't seen
My
Transformers
my wife
one
said
either.
Mufasa was awful,
Yeah.
and she loves the Lion King and all of the Lion King stuff, but
Hmm.
she came home and was like, "That might be one of the worst movies I've ever seen."
I didn't like the live action remake of The Lion King. That was the most. I was so disappointed. Like I took Hannah, my daughter, to see it when she was little. She was excited, and we were both like, "What are we watching? Why are we watching this? Like, why even make this?" It was terrible. Our hot takes that aren't so hot because most people will agree with us.
Yeah, probably.
All right, let's hop into box office. When Transformers the movie hit 990 US screens on August 8th, 1986, it struggled to find its footing. The film debuted in a disappointing 14th place, earning just $1.7 million on its opening weekend, falling behind movies like About Last Night, which had already been out for over a month. By the end of its run, the film grossed a total of $5.8 million, making it only the 99th highest grossing film of the year, just made in the top 100. The lackluster performance was part of a larger financial headache for Hasbro. The toy giant lost $10 million in 86 due to a failing partnership with De Laurentiis Entertainment Group, DEG, which distributed both Transformers and the equally unsuccessful My Little Pony, the movie, that I also did not see in the theater. While the film industry was generally booming, small distributors like DEG were drowning under the weight of producing too many cheap films too quickly, just like Canon Films, which we've talked about extensively. Beyond corporate struggles, the Autobots were simply crowded out by one of the most legendary summer lineups in cinema history. To survive at the box office, Transformers had to compete for attention against massive hits and cult favorites like Aliens, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Karate Kid Part 2, Labyrinth, and Stand By Me. Ultimately, the film was lost in the shuffle, failing to capture the mainstream audience despite the massive popularity of the toy line. Didn't do so well.
No, but I mean we talked about that with UHF. Like
Mm-hmm.
UHF came out in a super crowded market, so
Yeah.
it wasn't going to capture the market that it did. It found its hold later
Mm-hmm.
and found its place. Um, I think I think Transformers, for the animated movies that came out in that era, like the My Little Pony, G.I. Joe, Care Bear,
Mhm,
like all of
mhm.
the cartoons that made big movies, I think most people regard this one a little higher. I could be wrong, but I feel like it, because I was looking at the IMDb Rotten Tomato scores and they
Yeah,
were kind of high compared to like most of the stuff that you're just like, yeah, let's pretend it doesn't exist.
Right, right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like I said, I know that I saw the VHS cover for this. I know it had to have done fairly well on VHS. I didn't put that in the notes, but I'm sure that's kind of how it s- somewhat stayed relevant, or made at least some of its money back. But it's not one, like I said, I don't remember it being like on TV that much. I don't remember it being on cable at all. So
My
maybe.
my guess is much like a lot of the other cartoons,
Mhm.
they probably chunked this up into 3 or 4 episodes
Yeah, I think I did
and
read that
then
they did
and then
release
just
it, yeah, as episodes later, yeah.
and then just ran it as like, like a couple episodes in a row. Like it just became part of the next season.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm. Yeah,
which you can also tell like they kind of had that theory or that idea because like they kind of
there's
had
certain
natural,
cutting points, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, in
certain
the movie,
natural break points in there,
yeah,
But
yeah,
because I
because
mean,
one
they
of them,
did.
yeah, go ahead.
What's the one that Jerry talks about where he says something about the first? Maybe it was Voltron or something, where like the first like 4 or 5 episodes were a movie, and then they just
It
split
might have
them up
been
into.
Voltron.
Because I know Jerry and I have had this conversation before about, well, Voltron. So that's why I'm thinking that's what it was. But like, yeah, they did it as a movie, and they were like, yeah, now we're just going to turn it into a full on series. Take the
Mhm,
movie, split it up into 3 or 4, maybe even 5 30-minute episodes or 22-minute episodes because of the commercials, and
mhm.
there, double dip. Now we get to call it part of season
Season
one.
6, yeah.
Yeah, part of whatever season it was, and
Right, right.
the movie. So they they might have claimed a $10 million loss that year, but they've made their money back
Oh,
since.
for sure, yeah, yeah. Not a total loss at all. I mean, it's still very much a bankable franchise, and I don't know if we get into, like, the last Transformers live action movie wasn't great, but to know that they're gonna try to, like, m the end credits kinda shows that they're gonna try to cross over with the G.I. Joe live action. I was like, "That could be kinda fun. If they do it right, it could be fun."
I
We'll
don't
see
even
what
know if I
happens.
saw the last live action one. I'll have to look at the list and see which one it was.
Yeah. It just came out, like, 2 years ago, I think?
Then I don't think I saw it.
Yeah.
I went and saw the last night in theaters, and I was just like, I
Yeah,
could
that one wasn't that
I
great.
I could be done with this franchise.
Yeah, yeah. It's I'll say, we're totally jumping in a different decade, but, like, the Transformer live action movies, like most or like a lot of other, like, long franchises, there are good ones and there are bad ones, and they're not consistent. Like, the first one is great, the second one's terrible, the third one's not too bad, the fourth one's bad, the fifth one was, it's like, it just kinda goes up and down. It's like
Yeah,
the Daniel Craig Bond movies. I'm like, the odd number movies are great, the even number of movies stay away from.
yeah.
It's
Well,
like
I mean,
every other movie was great.
I will say this: I went to the first Transformers movie with Shia LaBeouf with
Mhm.
a great amount of trepidation because, like, first off, there's not been a great track record with making live action and
Right.
rebooting a franchise that I loved as a kid to begin with.
Yep.
And then you're putting the kid from Even Stevens as it, and like, Michael Bay. Michael Bay loves to make a fun. Michael Bay makes fun movies with lots of explosions and
Mhm, mhm.
big booms, but he doesn't exactly have a great like story track record. That movie
Right.
was way better than it should have been.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'll rewatch, like, the first one is the only one that I own. Like, I don't own any of the other ones, like, but I'll rewatch the first Transformers again and again. It's
I
very enjoyable.
My Blu-ray copy has it's a very poor transformer, but it's an Optimus
Oh, yeah,
Prime.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you can like transform the box, like you can like fold out arms and legs and then transform it back into the box. So yeah, I
Yeah, I
mean,
remember seeing those.
I'm a nerd.
F In good company, in good company. Alright, well, let's talk about the Rewatchability Nostalgia Meter. It's our way of measuring how enjoyable a movie is for repeat viewings, along with the waves and nostalgia it brings. Here's how it works if you're unfamiliar. It's a 1 to 10 scale. Any number between 1 and 10 will do, but here are a few parameters to help you decide. At the bottom of the meter is a number 1, means I saw it once and that was enough. Right in the middle at a number 5 is a good rewatch every couple of years. And at the top at a number 10 means it's highly rewatchable and full of nostalgia. So, Nicholas, where does Transformers the movie rank for you on the rewatchability nostalgia meter?
All right. Well, I understand what we're doing here, and I know where
You
I
should. You've
should.
done this a few times.
I know where I should put it because I haven't seen it in like 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna give it. But it just. I'm gonna give it a good 6.5.
Yeah.
You know, it's
That's
fun.
exactly where I have it. Yep.
It's fun. I
Go
would
ahead.
rewatch it again. I'll probably rewatch it again way before another 30 years. Um, but yeah, I mean, if somebody wanted to rewatch it again like next weekend, I'd probably be like, sure, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep. I'm right there. Once again, kind of the same reason. Like, I don't really have the nostalgia for the movie, but I have nostalgia for the toys and the cartoons. So that
Yes.
I can marry those two things together pretty well, like because it is an extension of the cartoon for the most part. But isn't something I've watched many times, but because it's a lot of fun, I was gonna land right at a 6. I'm like, it's not a 5, it's not that, and it's not that close to the middle, but it's not gonna be higher because it's not one I'm gonna watch on a regular basis. So I think 6 is right on the money for where it deserves to be on the rewatchability nostalgia meter for me anyway.
Yeah. That's right. Yes, I echo everything you just said, and that's what. Yeah, I mean, it actually makes me. I want to know. I think I have the GI Joe cartoons on DVD. It makes me
Oh,
kind of
okay.
want to hunt down the Transformer, like the original, like
Cartoons. Yeah.
G1 cartoons, and watch
Mhm.
those.
Yeah, hey, go to find Tubi, Pluto
Yeah,
TV,
it's
one of the
probably on.
streamers. There's the
It's probably on Tubi.
Roku TV.
Yeah,
Yeah, you may not be every season. You might only get like season 2 and 3, or like 2 and 6, or something like that. Something crazy, but you never know. Or it might just be on YouTube somewhere. So
probably.
yeah. All right, well, let us know where you think Transformers the movie should rank on the rewatchability nostalgia meter. Send us an email. Let us know on social media. You can drop us a comment right here on YouTube if that's where you're watching us from. So, Nicholas, thanks a lot for joining the podcast. Always a pleasure to have you on the show, my friend. And what you got coming up on Pop Culture Roulette?
We've been doing a lot of brackets because it's March.
It's March Madness. Yeah, why not?
So we've been doing some pretty crazy brackets. We got at least one more. It was yeah, we're probably gonna do a couple more brackets just because that's been what's been entertaining us recently. But what did we do? We did one hit wonders. We
Mm-hmm.
did
Yeah.
um we did a game that wasn't a bracket. We actually just did a game where we talked about weird, wacky comic crossovers, like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Godzilla versus Charles Barkley or Archie meets
Yeah.
Predator.
Was that like when when comics get weird, and that what
Yeah, when
that what the name
comics
of that
get
was?
weird.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We've just been having fun, like we always do. We've been making each
Yeah.
other laugh and having a good time, which is what Pop Culture Roulette is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely check it out. Also, Nicholas and I are part of Laramie's March Madness with villain live action. Who's the
Adapt.
best live action adapted villain? So I know that should be dropping here not too far in the future. So so go check that out on Moving Panels as well. So. All right. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Be sure to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. We would love for you to support the show by becoming a partner at buymeacoffee.com. Jump online and visit the website 80sflickflashback.com and our T Public store for some awesome 80s Flick Flashback merch and original designs. Thanks again for tuning in. Thank you, Nicholas, for being here. I'm Tim Williams from the 80s Flick Flashback Podcast. I've got better things to do tonight than die.